Mladen Antonov Afgheti Images, Washington Kun. Russian intelligence is operating a systematic program to launder pro-Kremlin propaganda through private relationships between Russian operatives and unwitting US and Western targets, according to newly declassified US intelligence. US intelligence agencies believe that the Russian Federal Security Service, FSB, is attempting to influence public policy and public opinion in the West by directing Russian civilians to build relationships with influential US and then disseminate narratives that support Kremlin objectives, obscuring the FSB's role through layers of ostensibly independent actors. These influence operations are designed to be deliberately small-scale, the overall goal being used by Western persons presenting these ideas, seemingly organic. A US official authorized to discuss the material told Kun. The co-optee influence operations are built primarily on personal relationships. They build trust with them, and then they can leverage that to covertly push the FSB's agenda. The campaigns have sometimes been effective at planting Russian narratives in the Western press, according to the intelligence. Maxim Grigoriev, who heads a Russian NGO, made multiple speeches to the UN presenting a false study that claimed the humanitarian group, the White Helmets, which operates in Syria, was running a black market for human organs and had faked chemical attacks by Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, with whom Russia is allied. Those claims eventually found their way into a television report on the far-right OAN in the United States, according to open-source materials provided by the official. Son has reached out to Grigoriev and OAN. But the official stressed that the Western voices that eventually became mouthpieces for Russian propaganda were almost certainly unaware of the role they were playing. At the end of the day, this unwitting target is disseminating Russian influence operation, Russian propaganda to their target public, the US official said. Ultimately, a lot of these are unwitting people. They remain unaware who is essentially seeding these narratives. The intelligence provides several examples of Russian civilian co-optees doing the bidding of the FSB. One man, Andrei Stefanenko, founded a media project in 2014 that sponsored journalists from the US and the West to visit eastern Ukraine and learn the alleged truth about what was happening in the region. In fact, the FSB directed his efforts and almost certainly financed the project according to the declassified intelligence. Korn was not able to locate Stefanenko to ask or comment. The US official also cited Natalia Berlinova, the founder of a Russian NGO who routinely coordinated FSB-funded public diplomacy efforts aimed at influencing Western views. In 2018, she visited, had meetings and hosted events at multiple US think tanks and universities in New York, Boston, and Washington, work that was funded by the FSB, according to the intelligence. Her conduct was already public. She was indicted earlier this year on charges of conspiring with an FSB officer to act as an illegal agent of Russia inside the United States, although she remains at liberty in Russia. Khan has reached out to Berlinova. The official declined to offer specifics to back up the intelligence community's assertions that the FSB is funding this kind of operation, but noted that once officials were able to establish FSB backing, it is easy to trace the narratives they are pushing in open-source material. Once you're aware of who these people are and their association with the FSB, by nature of what they're doing, they have very, very public personas, the official said. And so I would just say it's not really difficult to kind of follow the string. The US official declined to say whether Russia has used these same tactics to try to influence US elections. The FSB does use similar tactics to influence political opinion within Russia, according to the intelligence. In one instance, a Russian media figure named Anton Tsevetkov organized protests outside of embassies in Moscow, including the US embassy, at the FSB's behest. The protests pushed Russia's narrative of the war in Ukraine, promoting the Ukrainian Nazis' narrative and blaming the USS and its allies for the deaths of children in the Donbass, while hiding the Russian government's role, according to the declassified intelligence. The purpose of those protests really was designed to sell it to the Russian people, the US official said.